Hey everybody, Julius here for Bumbling Cinema. This is a podcast, an idea I've had since a couple months after seeing Spider-Man No Way Home in the theaters for a possible Spider-Man 4, since Spider-Man 4 is getting ready to film later this fall, and I realized I never had a chance to read these ideas in narrative form. I thought I might as well give it a shot years later. This is the beginning of the college trilogy, as it were. So sit back, enjoy, and stick with me. And a lean figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. The Marvel Cinematic Universe makes the undoable the status quo. When the Avengers was first announced, many comic fans at the time didn't even believe it would happen. The idea of a crossover in this regard was rather nonsensical.
The question is about the Avengers movie.
Oh, the one that's never going to happen?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The one they're going to talk about it and get you all worked up for that's never actually going to happen?
I love the way he's
way.
deflecting his own mistake now.
I haven't made a mistake.
Oh,
You tell me I made a mistake when they actually make it, but they won't.
That's true, he's got a point.
However, here we are, almost 15 years later, still living the dream. Spider-Man No Way Home fulfilled many hopes and wishes held by the fan base, dating back all the way to 1962. The inclusion of characters new and old, aligned with the story that truly brings Peter Parker to his darkest point, made this a sobering and well-worth addition to Spider-Man's history. So, after an epic conclusion to this trilogy of the adolescent hero, the question remains, what's next? Well, here I am, acting as your guide. Bear with me into this amazing fantasy. We're leaving high school behind and transitioning into the college trilogy. Part 1. Spider-Man Blue. Peter Parker is no one. Well, that's only half true. He's known by the whole world, just not as a student at the New York University College of Arts and Sciences. He's known to the whole world as Spider-Man. For the past year, Peter Parker has dedicated the majority of his time to school, work, and crime fighting. He doesn't have friends, a girlfriend, an aunt, anyone. He does, however, have Spider-Man. One day he swings through Manhattan in a rush, fighting crooks along the way and mocking them. Guys, you know that I love beating you up, but seriously, I've been late to work 3 times this week. He beats them and continues on his way, but finds more crimes being committed along the way. Like a good hero, Spider-Man's there. Finally, he arrives to the university. He works as a lab assistant for Dr. Miles Warren, a geneticist with multiple awards yet dwindling grants. Warren would be upset with Parker's tardiness. However, today's living tissue sample of alien origin keeps him in a cheery mood. This sample was shipped from Tijuana, found in a bar moving by itself. Warren spent every last bit of his research money for equipment to analyze the sample. And there it is. On a research slab in front of the 2 scientists, it's a little sliver of a black substance that twitches every other second. However, when in the presence of Peter, it moves closer and closer towards him. Warren encases the sample in a viewing crate. Fascinating, isn't it? Where could this have come from, Parker? Thanos? The blip? Perhaps it was left by that giant in the sky. Wherever she's from. She'll change everything for us. This will be the discovery of my career. And just the beginning of yours. Interrupting the two, early for the 5 p.m. lecture, is one of Warren's students. The professor introduces Peter to the beautiful prodigy, Felicia Hardy. Peter is quite visibly taken by her, and their interaction is cute, but Parker notices he's late for his second job, and off he goes. Spider-Man swings off talking to himself, as he usually does. And you blew it. Great job, Parker. There she was, an actual living, breathing girl, who you could totally ask out, and would probably, well, hopefully, say yes. I mean, she looked like she was into you, right? Do I even really want to? I mean, I still think about... Well, aside from that, you're too busy to be Peter Parker. Spider-Man is a second job. Just one that doesn't pay. But at least you get to beat up jerks. Spidey sees in the streets below a gang of crooks breaking and entering. Like the ones here. Peter encounters the criminals, but notices they're the same ones from earlier that day. He fights them off, but his Spidey sense tingles. A van of separate thugs enter the area, 2 different gangs targeting each other. Spider-Man takes as many of them down as possible, but shots are fired. He dodges the bullets, but in the end, the gangs take each other out. Peter asks them what this was, who sent them, and he's told that their bosses did. Their bosses are in the midst of a gang war, fighting for control of New York's underworld. The bosses? Lonnie Thompson Lincoln, aka Tombstone, and a man only known as Hammerhead. The gangster dies before Spider-Man, and the police arrive, led by Captain George Stacy. He investigates the crime scene, and Peter is long gone. Peter ponders this gang war from a building above, seeing the police below. He notices on a building near a woman standing on the edge. She begins to run, and Peter chases her. Finally, he catches up, and the two begin to brawl.
Try again, Spider.
Parker notices that the woman's suit is heavily inspired by cats, an interesting design choice along with flowing white hair and golden goggles. He asks her who she is and what she knows about this gang war, but the black cat only chuckles. For her, this is fun. She manages to get the edge of Spidey. Before making her getaway, she looks back with a grin. She gets away, and Peter's left curious and slightly infatuated. The next day, Peter rushes to his work again. Today, tests begin on the alien specimen. Felicia is there as well, since she's Warren's best student. First, Dr. Warren finds that the black substance seeks to attach to living organisms. Whenever it's prodded with a scientific tool, no reaction. But when faced with a living subject, such as a test mouse, it rushes to bond. Felicia mentions that the substance has the characteristics of a symbiote. It needs a host to survive. Warren says that he looks forward to human trials, but Peter protests, saying that they don't know how this symbiote will truly affect the human body. How does it affect cells? Does it harbor any bacteria damaging to the human body? Does it think? What are the psychological after effects that this could have on a person? Warren respects Peter's questions, but he tells him that science isn't a rich man's game. They're running out of time and grant money. They need to test sooner rather than later. Peter is left worried for Warren's sake. Parker leaves the school running into Felicia, and awkwardly he finally asks her if she'd like to get some dinner. And surprisingly enough, she says yes. So, you like coffee?
Hence the coffee.
Hence the coffee and the shop.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
What got you interested in Dr. Warren's class? I wouldn't have clocked you for biological reverse engineering.
Did you think I'd major in waitressing?
No, it's just, it's nice to be surprised sometimes.
Miles is an old family friend. He helped me and my dad out during the blip. Crazy couple years.
Yeah, crazy. What's your dad do?
He's out of the picture.
If it helps, same situation with me.
Your parents?
My everyone. My aunt, my best friend, MJ.
Who's MJ?
She was, everything.
But you miss her.
More than anything.
Why don't you reach out?
Probably the same reason you don't. I just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad and I would go to this old theater in Brooklyn. What was it called? Ditko's, I think?
No way. I used to go with my aunt there.
It was the best, right? You remember how they used to play old films there? Mm-hmm. Our favorite was The Princess Bride.
MJ and I saw that there.
Yeah.
And then Peter's Spidey sense goes off. But nothing is wrong until an explosion down the street. People yelling and running away. Peter is about to tell Felicia to run, but she's already gone. Okay, world, I get it. No more dating for Peter Parker. He suits up and rushes to the action. He sees tearing up the block of Uptown are two men in mechanized suits. One of them, green with a giant tail at the back that's reminiscent of a scorpion. The other, purple and green, the suit of a mercenary. This man is known in the underworld as the Prowler. Both the Scorpion and Prowler were sent there by their boss, Tombstone, to root out Spider-Man and put him down. Peter recognizes both men.
Spider-Man, come out to play, eh?
I hate fighting Spider-Man.
Men? There's more than one?
Don't even get me started. The Scorpion is Mac Gargan, a criminal whose face was damaged during a fight with Parker and has since sought revenge. And the Prowler is Aaron Davis, a petty crook whose life Spider-Man had saved before. Why would he look to fight him? Well, Davis has a nephew to take care of, and the money Tombstone was paying was too good. The fight begins, and Peter does his best to fight off the two, all while protecting civilians trying to make their escape. The brawl is brutal as the two pummel the wall crawler, and just as the Scorpion is about to impale him, the Black Cat swings in, saving him. The Scorpion and Prowler are left to escape from the police, heading their way. Again, Captain Stacy, who identifies Mac Gargan as one of the assailants. One of his people, Officer Gene DeWolf, asks him, "What about Spider-Man?" And Stacy says that it's clear that Spider-Man was trying to help de-escalate the situation. Away from the chaos, Black Cat and Spidey hide on a rooftop. He thanks her and asks why she saved him. She mentions that she could tell he wasn't a hired gun in this turf war, just someone trying to do the right thing. Cat, what are you doing?
I'm tired. I'm tired and tired of this. Of them. Tired of so-called people who have everything, own everything and everyone, because one day they thought to themselves, you know what? I can commit the most absolute wrong and evil acts that a person can conceive and get away with them. I can hurt people who are just trying to do what I don't have to. Survive. I can be a monster and still get a full night's sleep. I'm tired, Spider. Tired of giving everything to these people just so I can survive. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you got involved in this.
What do you mean? Cat, what are you doing?
Surviving.
And before Peter can say anything, he begins to lose consciousness. The Black Cat slipped a smelling agent that would put him under for the next couple hours. Peter wakes up hours later in the office of Hammerhead. He was given to him by the Black Cat in exchange for someone Hammerhead was holding hostage, an old business associate of his, Walter Hardy, Felicia's father. But before the trade-off is made, there's another piece of information that's part of the bargain: the symbiote. The Black Cat tells Hammerhead that the symbiote is locked up in NYU and shouldn't be hard for her to steal. It's shown that it enhances the physical attributes of a subject along with those emotional. Hammerhead is delighted to hear this as he plans to weaponize the goo and finally bring down Tombstone.
Ah, Felicia. My little pussycat. Once Thompson's out of the way, forget about it. This city's gonna come back to the natural order, which is us on the top. You're looking at your new kingpin. You didn't need all the toys and the Flash back in my day. All you needed was to make sure you had lead. And that's where we're headed back to, Spider-Man.
Someone has been financing Tombstone's crew, which is how the Scorpion and Prowler got their advanced tech. Hammer needs to keep up, and this alien might be the answer. And maybe his first human test subject will be his new hostage, Spider-Man. Hammerhead decides to unmask the hero and sees Parker's face. But he doesn't know who he is. He asks Black Cat if she does, but she denies it. Hammerhead sends Black Cat to the symbiote and locks Peter up along with Walter Hardy. In confinement, the two understand each other better. Peter had figured out that Felicia is the Black Cat at this point, and learns through Walter that she was trained to steal at a young age. He taught her, and growing up, they committed many capers together. Eventually, Walter got involved with Hammerhead, and this led them here. Peter manages to find an escape and promises to stop Felicia, but Walter begs that he brings him so that the both of them can save her. He agrees, and the two swing off to NYU. At the police station, Captain Stacy gathers his information, files on Gargan, Tombstone, Hammerhead, clips of Spider-Man fighting the bad guys from the New York Post, Daily Bugle, and Daily Dose. Officer DeWolf comes to Stacy, telling him that her sources confirm that this Black Cat character is an enforcer for Hammerhead's gang. DeWolf stresses that she and Spider-Man are legitimate leads and should be their top priorities. Then, through the chain, sightings of the Black Cat are poured through. She's near NYU. Stacy and his people swarm out, heading to the college. Jean DeWolf, however, stays behind for a second. She texts an unknown recipient, telling them that they have a location on Black Cat. The recipient is Tombstone. He orders his men to get ready, including Scorpion and the Prowler.
Mr. Gargan, Mr. Davis, after tonight, we will be the only game in town. Stamping out Hammerhead will be the only warning neighboring factions need. Cops and gangs alike.
Spider-Man and Walter swing through the city, passing people and traffic below. In the closed laboratory of Dr. Miles Warren, the Black Cat sneaks in. She finds the symbiote and is about to take it until Miles approaches her. He begs that she leaves it be. This is all he has left. At the last minute, Spider-Man and Walter arrive. Walter tells Felicia that she doesn't have to do this. She doesn't have to be this person. It wasn't right of him to lead her in this life. He's sorry for it all. But before she can answer back, bam! A gunshot. And Walter hits the ground. Behind them all, Hammerhead and his crew. He laughs triumphantly, for the symbiote is within arm's reach. And at that moment, Tombstone and the gang arrive. The two face off. Everyone stop! This man needs an ambulance. Before you start hitting each other for no good reason, we need to get him to a hospital. The Prowler is sympathetic. He offers to help Black Cat take her dying father outside and call a medic. They leave. And finally, the tension boils and boils. And the fight begins. The gangs shoot at each other. The Scorpion charges Spider-Man. Miles takes cover and Tombstone interlocks with Hammerhead. Hey, Gargan!
Spider-Man!
I noticed those scars on your mug. Acne, right? Trust me, I've been there.
Cállate, wey.
No, honestly, have you ever heard of a chemical peel? I think it's just what you need. Outside, an ambulance arrives, and EMTs take Walter, but it's too late.
You're so much more.
Aaron Davis hears the words as well. Walter dies, and Felicia is broken. The Prowler ponders. Captain Stacy and his police arrive, approaching the Black Cat and Prowler. Davis notices Jean DeWolf, the corrupt cop. In an act of nobility, he gives himself up to Stacy, willing to bring Tombstone's operation to light, bringing down everything and everyone. Black Cat would never give herself up, and disappears. And right as she's about to make her escape, she hears the battle from inside of the lab. In the lab, the Scorpion has Spider-Man dead to rights. He's about to impale him, laughing as his stinger draws near, but at the very last second, he's knocked out from behind by Felicia. She came back and helps Peter to his feet. The two work together and target Tombstone and Hammerhead, both still fighting each other. Spider-Man and Black Cat separate the crime bosses. Peter takes Toomey. Felicia takes Hammer.
Alright, Toomey, let's dance. Allow me to lead. How about this, pussycat? I'll keep you on payroll as eye candy.
You killed my father. Prepare to die. Ugh!
With each punch, Peter realizes how durable Tombstone's skin is. He's not strong enough to take him down. Felicia has a similar issue with Hammer. She claws at him, hoping to kill, but it's no use. He only laughs and smacks her away, knocking her out. Tombstone knocks Spider-Man away as well, causing him to spit out blood. How about this, Toomey? You and I take a break from killing each other, and we kill them.
The two have been bothers. Deal.
Spidey crawls away knowing that he's not strong enough, but he can be. He goes for the symbiote locker, entering his code. Miles sees this and figures it out. Peter? Sorry, Doc, but it looks like I'll be your first human subject. Peter bonds with the symbiote. It encases him. A new suit covers his red and blue. It's now black with a white symbol of a spider. He feels stronger, more agile. He gets up, ready for both Tombstone and Hammerhead. And swiftly, he charges at them, webbing them and landing hard punches, punches they feel. Peter fights more aggressively. His punches are surgical. He first knocks Tombstone out, and after, Hammerhead. The fight is over. Felicia wakes up, still gathering herself. Dr. Warren helps her to her feet. He cheers Peter as this test was an undoubtable success. He asks Parker to put the symbiote back in the locker, but he hesitates. This suit, it can do so much. So much good. Look what it just did, Doc. 2 of the biggest players in the city, done. Think of how many people it can help out there. It can't do that in a locker. We don't know nearly enough about this creature, Peter. Put it back. For what? So you can get more funding? An award? This can save lives, and you don't care. People need this. We need it! The doctor takes a moment. We, Peter? Peter leaves. Felicia leaves as well. Miles is alone in his office until Captain Stacy and his police enter. They ask the doctor what happened. Who did this? Miles says only one name. Spider-Man. Later that night, Peter sits on a roof, playing with his new suit. Felicia approaches him.
Even though you look good in black, I'm not so sure about you wearing that thing.
This thing just stopped 2 of the biggest crime bosses in New York. I think it has its heart in the right place.
Well, just keep an eye out. The look in your eye when you were telling off a warrant.
What?
Just seems like a lot of power for one guy.
Well, my aunt told me that with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
And for the rest of us, worry. Good luck, Spider.
Felicia, before you go, I'm sorry about your dad.
So am I.
Before leaving, she gives Peter a kiss and finally, a goodbye. The following days, Aaron Davis goes on the record. He tells Stacy everything he knows about Tombstone and Hammerhead's business. Both crime bosses go to jail, as do their co-conspirators, including Jean DeWolf. Aaron goes away too, but he is able to make one last phone call. And he calls his nephew, a kid by the name of Miles Morales. He tells him that they won't see each other for a while, but he's a good kid that can be more than what Aaron is. Miles asks what made him change his mind about the Prowler. Well, Miles, you don't believe me, but Spider-Man. The phone call ends. Peter sits in his apartment alone, jobless, friendless, girlless. He pulls out a journal and makes his first entry entitled, Dear MJ. But he doesn't know what to say. Out of nowhere, a voice in Peter's head is heard. You'll get through this, Peter. We will. Because we are all that we need. Peter launches out of his apartment in his new black suit. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is long gone. Something new has taken his place. Something venomous. Later on, Dr. Miles Warren cleans up his lab. He notices blood on his floor and remembers it belongs to Peter. While collecting the sample, he receives a call, an unknown number, someone who's heard of his research and wishes to be his primary benefactor. The doctor asks who this caller is.
We don't say my name. You can call me an interested party.